Hey guys, history behind the warrior today, and we're going to be talking about Johnny Cage. Now, I just want to do a shout out to another YouTuber called True Underdog Gaming. This guy is freaking amazing. He does so many good tutorials for each individual character in Mortal Kombat. He's a very nice guy, makes great quality videos. So go hop over to his channel and give him a subscription. Now, another thing for you guys, I'm extremely unwell right now, which is why I sound a lot more monotone than what I do. So hopefully you guys can deal with that and listen to how annoying I am. Pre-Mortal Kombat. Johnny Cage is a world-renowned actor, and he actually comes all the way from Hollywood. During his career, he's featured in many films, much like Ninja Man, which is constantly referred to in the Mortal Kombat reboot games. Johnny Cage was an actor known for doing his own stunts, and eventually this would lead him to joining the Mortal Kombat tournament to prove himself as a fighter. The reason Johnny Cage participated in this tournament was to revive his dying career, and hopefully by showing off his capabilities in the Mortal Kombat tournament, bring a new audience to the cinema. Now, a little cool fact for you guys, not many people know this and some people do. Of course, the Mortal Kombat game featured real people doing actions and stunts, and this game was actually supposed to be based around Johnny Cage, who was actually going to be portrayed by Jean-Claude Van Damme. However, the actor turned down the role due to his filming schedule. Mortal Kombat 1. John Carlton, also known as Johnny Cage, decides to participate in the Mortal Kombat tournament and travels on a ship to Shang Tsung's island. After boarding the ship, Johnny Cage is shaken down by the Black Dragon leader known as Kano. Outnumbered by Kano and his allies, he is assisted by the Shaolin monk known as Liu Kang. The actor and the monk manage to defeat the Black Dragon clan, with Johnny Cage shadow kicking Kano off the ship. Finally arriving at the island, Cage joins forces with Liu Kang and Sonya, a member of the United States Special Forces. The three of them formed an alliance to protect Earthrealm, with Raiden being their advisor and mentor. During the final battle of the Mortal Kombat tournament between Liu Kang and Shang Tsung, Johnny and Sonya are forced to team with Kano to fight Goro, who is attempting to intervene in the fight. After Shang Tsung's defeat, his island begins to crumble and destroy itself. Raiden is able to save Johnny Cage and drop him off at Special Forces Agency near the island. However, Sonya has apparently disappeared. At the Special Forces Agency, he's interrogated by Major Jackson Briggs, who asks him the whereabouts of Sonya. Johnny tells Jax about the events of the island, but understandably the Major does not believe him. With no evidence to hold the actor, Johnny is eventually set free. Upon his release, Johnny Cage returns to acting and creates a film called Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat 2. The US Special Forces would receive a secret message sent from Sonya. Major Jax realized that Johnny Cage's story was in fact true, and he went to meet the superstar once more to personally apologize to the actor for disbelieving him. Not long after this, Johnny Cage was shooting a commercial and was suddenly attacked by Outward's forces. Johnny Cage was overwhelmed. However, he was assisted by his fellow Earthrealm warriors who managed to even out the playing field. Suddenly Raiden would appear and put an end to the conflict, with Shang Tsung proposing a new Mortal Kombat tournament. Once more, Johnny Cage would reunite with his allies to protect Earthrealm. Eventually, Liu Kang would challenge Shao Kahn, proving that he was the real champion of Mortal Kombat, defeating the Emperor within an inch of his life. Mortal Kombat 3. After Shao Kahn's embarrassing defeat to Liu Kang, he sent extermination squads to Earthrealm and started terminating any human life. Johnny Cage was forced to fight one of the extermination squads and ended up fighting against Motaro, leader of Kahn's forces. Johnny Cage would actually be killed in this conflict. Although Cage had been killed, Cage's soul was unable to ascend to a higher plane of existence and actually returned back to his body. This would allow the actor to become one of the chosen warriors to fight off against Kahn's invasion. Of course, Shao Kahn would once again be defeated by Liu Kang. Mortal Kombat 4. After Shao Kahn's defeat, Johnny's soul was finally freed, which allowed him to ascend to heaven. However, Johnny's time in paradise would not last, as the fallen elder god Shinnok had attacked Earthrealm. Johnny Cage would approach Raiden and ask him to restore his deceased soul. After being restored back to life, Johnny was able to fight alongside the Earthrealm defenders against the elder god Shinnok. After Shinnok's inevitable defeat at the hands of Liu Kang, it appeared as Raiden's revival of Cage was permanent and he was not able to return back to heaven, but instead remain on Earth. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Years later, Cage would return back to being an actor, in which he participated in a film called Mortal Kombat: The Death of Johnny Cage, where he was repeatedly killed and brought back to life. Cage was upset at the way he was supposed to be portrayed, believing that his own life was actually far more exciting. He wanted out the movie but couldn't due to his contract. Out of sheer luck, the actor would be approached by Raiden, who would ask him for assistance to fight against the Deadly Alliance, consisting of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. Cage was able to find a loophole in his contract and left the movie. Cage would then arrive at Shang Tsung's island. Upon arriving at the island, he had learned of Liu Kang's death, and travelled to Outworld to help the Earthrealm defenders. Mortal Kombat Deception. Cage and the Earthrealm defenders were killed during the final assault on the Deadly Alliance, but most of them were overwhelmed by the Deadly Alliance's Tarkatan hordes. However, once again, Cage would escape death, and he was resurrected by Onaga and made into his slave. Sometime later after this, he would be freed by Ermac and the spirit of Liu Kang. Mortal Kombat Armageddon. Johnny had become disheartened at the fact that Raiden had lost sight of who he was, and that Liu Kang was unable to unite with his body. Around this time, Cage had begun receiving visions of Shinnok, creating portals to travel to different realms of existence. Cage would take action and use his visions to his advantage. Johnny Cage would ambush the Elder God Shinnok and catch him off guard. He appeared to have the upper hand until the former Elder God retreated in a cloud of smoke, leaving Johnny to decide what to do next. Soon after this, Cage is seen gathering many of the Earthrealm warriors such as Nightwolf, Sub-Zero and Kenshi to create an army to fight off against the forces of darkness during the Battle of Armageddon. The resulting battle nearly killed every single combatant in Mortal Kombat history, including Johnny Cage himself, who had been decapitated by an unknown opponent. Mortal Kombat 9. Mortal Kombat 9 is a reboot of the franchise, in which Raiden actually sends a message to his past self at the first Mortal Kombat tournament to prevent Armageddon from ever happening. Johnny Cage is seen in the first Mortal Kombat tournament, and what is the first thing he does? He begins hitting on Sonya Blade. Also, this version of Johnny Cage is a lot more annoying and a lot more arrogant than his previous versions, as we're going to see. In the first match of the Mortal Kombat tournament, Johnny is fighting against Reptile, and due to Johnny's arrogance, he actually assumes that Reptile is merely an actor. After Cage manages to defeat the Saurian, he celebrates his victory by pretty much being a dick and bad-mouthing all the other combatants in front of their faces, and creepily hits on Sonya Blade once more. Johnny is then ordered to fight Baraka, who he again believes is just another actor and just some kind of get-up. After defeating Baraka, he is commanded by Shang Tsung to kill him. Johnny initially takes this as a joke. However, he realizes that everyone is watching him and that he's actually being serious, in which Johnny Cage then refuses to kill him. After this, he's approached by Raiden and Liu Kang, who attempt to inform him what this tournament is actually about. Johnny, however, doesn't believe anything they're saying, thinking that they're crazy. He states to them that he is only an actor, and only saves the world in front of a camera. Johnny then creepily chases after Sonya to try and ask her out on a date. Cage manages to finally find Sonya on the bridge above the pit, and continues to flirt with her. Sonya gets tired of his persistence and ends up attacking him. Cage manages to subdue the Special Forces operative, but feels guilty about hitting her. Whilst backing away from her and actually leaving Sonya alone, Kano appears and apparently throws the actor off the bridge. Johnny luckily manages to grab onto one of the edges. Kano, seeing that Sonya has been softened up from the fight with Johnny, seizes the opportunity to finish her off. Johnny manages to make his way back up on the bridge and confronts Kano. Cage manages to surprisingly hold his own against the Black Dragon arms dealer and defeats him, earning Sonya's respect and gratitude. It's around this time where he learns that Reptile and Baraka were actually real, and he's initially shocked. After this, Johnny Cage finally sides with Raiden, believing everything that he has said. Cage is then next seen when Sonya has rescued Jax. He tells her that Raiden is actually a god, and Raiden then proceeds to heal Jax from his wounds. Cage is then next seen fighting against Cyrax, who's actually been assigned by Shang Tsung to kill the actor. However, the assassin spares his life on behalf of Raiden. Due to his loss, Johnny is eliminated from this tournament. Cage is then next seen with his fellow Earthrealm warriors celebrating Liu Kang's victory over Shang Tsung, in which Johnny and many of the Earthrealm warriors are then next seen at the Wuxi Academy, in which Liu Kang is then receiving his award from Raiden. However, during the night of the celebration, Tarkatans attack the Wuxi Academy, kidnapping Sonya and knocking Jax unconscious. Johnny then travels with Jax and Raiden on a mission to save Sonya. On their journey, Cage begins questioning Jax's relationship with Sonya. Jax explains that Sonya is his commanding officer, nothing more and nothing less. However, due to Johnny Cage's persistence, Jax loses his temper and the two of them break out into a scuffle. Raiden is then forced to break up the two, and they are eventually confronted by Jade, who orders them to leave immediately. Jax manages to defeat Jade and then apologizes to Johnny for his behavior. The three of them then proceed to the Dead Pool, where Sonya is being guarded by Shiva and her guards. After defeating them, they then free Sonya, in which then Raiden orders Johnny to stay close behind him when they travel to the Living Forest. In the Living Forest, the two of them come across the ninja named Smoke and recruit him. Three of them then travel to Shao Kahn's Coliseum, where they are just in time to see Sub-Zero be captured by Lin Kuei warriors and forcibly turned into a cyborg. Raiden then realizes that his earlier actions of sparing Smoke have led to the automation of Sub-Zero. He decides to speak to Kitana, in which Johnny replies,
"Sure, let's go ruin someone else's life."
When the Earthrealm warriors attempt to approach Kitana, she attacks them, defeating Johnny Cage and Smoke. As the Earthrealm warriors continue to explore Outworld, they eventually find Jade, who tells them that Kitana has been captured. Cage is then next seen in the second Mortal Kombat tournament, where he is defeated and eliminated by Ermac. Johnny is then next seen during the Earthrealm invasion, where he is fighting Motaro in the street. Raiden intervenes and kills Motaro. This in turn alters the timeline of where he died fighting against Motaro. Cage appears with his fellow Earthrealmers discussing the situation of the invasion. However, they are ambushed by Lin Kuei cyborgs, but are successful in defeating them. But not long after this, Sindel would emerge and kill almost all the Earthrealm warriors except Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade, who survived the onslaught. The two of them are then tended by Liu Kang after Sindel's death. Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade arrive just in time to see Liu Kang fighting Raiden, in which Liu Kang then attempts to kill Raiden. However, Raiden protects himself with lightning, and this merges with Liu Kang's Dragonfire, electrocuting him and burning him at the same time. The wounds would be so severe that Liu Kang would actually die from them. Johnny and Sonya would attempt to fight Shao Kahn, however he blasts them away like they were flies, knocking them unconscious. After Raiden defeats Shao Kahn with the Elder God's assistance, Johnny and Sonya help Raiden to his feet. Knowing that the fight doesn't end yet, the three of them stay in contact with each other. Due to the comics not being yet finished, I'm going to leave them out around this time, but basically what I can say around here that's with Johnny and Sonya is the two of them actually conceived Cassie at this point, and around this time as well they got married afterwards, and they eventually get divorced too. Mortal Kombat X. A few years after the Battle of Earthrealm, Johnny and Kenshi join Sonya and the Special Forces in a fight against Shinnok. On their journey to the Sky Temple, the aircraft is attacked by two ninjas, that being Scorpion and a revenant version of Sub-Zero. Johnny defeats both ninjas and then meets up with Kenshi and Sonya as they continue on their journey to the Sky Temple. As they approach the Sky Temple portal, they are caught out by a revenant version of Nightwolf. Johnny is then forced to fight a revenant version of Smoke, now going by the name Enra. After defeating Enra, he has to save Sonya from Jax and defeats him, promising that he will fix him someday. The three of them then arrive at the Sky Temple and travel to the Jinsei Chamber, where they are just able to save Raiden and Fujin from Shinnok's amulet. During the confrontation with Shinnok, Sonya is injured very badly, and Johnny begins emitting a green energy and fights Shinnok and manages to defeat the Elder God. Shinnok is then imprisoned within his own amulet, and Johnny tends to Sonya. Sonya begins to awake, and he is initially very happy to see that she is well. After the battle, Johnny learns from Raiden that his power comes from an ancestry of Mediterranean war cults. Since he could not awake his power after the battle of Shinnok, the Elder God speculates that it only triggers whenever Johnny sees a loved one in danger. Around this time as well, Sonya Blade and Johnny Cage begin seeing each other, and eventually Cassie Cage is conceived. Sometime later, Johnny and Sonya infiltrate Quan Chi's fortress, where they fight the sorcerer and his revenants. Johnny defeats Sub-Zero and Jax, but is later stabbed in the back by Jax. As he lays dying, his revenant form starts to emerge and take form. Luckily, Raiden arrives and stops the process of Johnny Cage transforming into a revenant, and even saves his life along with Revenant Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Jax. Eventually, Johnny and Sonya get married, in which they then raise their daughter Cassie. However, Sonya gets caught up with work a lot, and she spends a lot less time at home. This initially angers Johnny, which then leads the two of them to divorce. Many years later, Johnny creates his own team consisting of Cassie, Jackie, Takeda and Kung Jin. He then sends them out on their first mission to the Lin Kuei Temple to talk to Sub-Zero if he's still their ally. It is later revealed that Johnny and Sub-Zero have set this up so the Grand Master can test their skills as a team. After their mission, they are called back to base by Sonya, where they learn from the refugee leader Li Mei that Mileena is in possession of Shinnok's amulet. They find out that Kano is among the refugees as well. Johnny prepares to go with Sonya, but she orders him to talk to Colonel Flag to keep him away. Johnny angrily confronts Sonya, saying that if she put more time into her family than her job, then they might still be together. Johnny is next seen when Sonya finds and defeats Kano. She begins choking him and nearly killing him. Johnny pleads to her to stop so that they can find out where the amulet's location is. Sonya complies and Kano talks. Johnny joins Sonya at Jax's home to help persuade him in helping capture Quan Chi. After Jax succeeds in capturing Quan Chi, the sorcerer is brought back to Earthrealm as a prisoner so Raiden can make him undo the spell on his revenants. However, Hanzo Hasashi has infiltrated the base to kill the sorcerer for the murder of his clan and family. Johnny, Sonya and Kenshi try to stop him, but they all defeated and bounded. After Quan Chi's decapitation and Shinnok's release from his amulet, Johnny is then taken captive to the Sky Temple by Shinnok and his revenants. At the Jinsei, Johnny is bounded by Devora as Shinnok corrupts Earthrealm's life force. Devora then unleashes her flesh-eating bugs on Johnny, leaving horrible scars on his face. Cassie arrives and manages to defeat Devora. As she tries to free Johnny, Johnny pleads for her to stop Shinnok first. During the fight, Shinnok begins to drain Johnny's life force with his amulet, causing Johnny to scream in pain. Cassie steps in and unleashes her inherited powers of green energy, and she manages to defeat Shinnok. After Raiden heals a Jinsei, Johnny is attended to by his daughter. Sonya later arrives, in which he then tells Sonya about how great of a job Cassie did at defeating Shinnok. Sonya then tells him he did a great job with his team and calls him Johnny, something that he is glad to hear, which in turn does spark a little bit of love between the two characters once more. And this is the end of the Johnny Cage video. It was actually pretty good. I was never really a big fan of Johnny Cage during MK9 because he was a bit of a douchebag, especially with the fact that he had his name tattooed on his chest. But I have to admit, in Mortal Kombat X, he really does redeem himself and he's a very, very good father figure in it. Anyway guys, here's a little preview for next week's episode.
Beloved sister, you are a perversion. I am Empress of Outworld.
Yeah, so I finally decided to do Mileena since I got a lot of people requesting to actually do Mileena, on top of the fact that I wanted to cover another female character because there's been a lot of guys and a lot of girls, plus you guys have actually been asking me to do like a villain or something, so I thought maybe it's time for me to finally do Mileena. Anyway guys, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.